Hey, it's Dave from the Canadian Haunting and Paranormal Society. All right, next video. This one's not going to be so much of a video to dispel or put down other devices or whatever. It is more of an experiment. Was brought up to me to deal with battery drain, which of course is something that all paranormal investigators and everybody in general experiences. But paranormal investigators, we're kind of a different breed that somehow we end up getting the idea that a battery drain means the spirits around us. So, I want to make a video about mitigating factors that affect that. Physical factors, environmental factors, etc. I'm going to use a couple different devices. There's all different kinds of batteries. You've got NiCad, NiMH, or nickel methyl hydrate. You've got rechargeables, alkaline, polylithium ion. We're not going to use those. Those are more for industrial. Same as lead battery. They're for industrial. Differences in learning factors between things like 9 volts, AAAs, could do an experiment whether the AAAs or the double A's, rechargeable or alkaline, are better suited. I know they have different operating parameters, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to use a couple different devices with a couple different types of batteries, and use those batteries in basically the same situations under different environmental conditions. I'll try not to make the tests exactly the same. May not test one the same as the other. I think it's all just to get a general idea and consensus, but I'm just going to play with it. So that's really more what it is for me, is just to see what happens and how much it can get affected. But we all, battery drain is just a fact of life. Things just get accelerated by it, but I want to see what it does more. I'll condense it because I don't think you guys want to see a camera take 500 pictures or a video play for 10 hours or something. So we'll talk about the quality of battery, or we'll talk about the quality of the device being used, etc. So maybe we'll get something out of this. Maybe it'll be an absolutely mind-tearingly boring video. Either way, you can watch it. Okay, so we're going to start with a pretty basic thing, K2. Not an item I'm all that fond of anymore, but it's good for display. So I think what we're going to do, K2 uses a 9-volt battery. I'm sure you've all seen them, they're square. 9-volt battery is actually like what the equivalent in reading is like 6 AAA batteries. Kind of meant for like long-term usage. I know we've only changed the battery. We've had this 15 years. I think we've changed the battery 6 times. But it's only because you go in and use it in simple engagement. So I'm going to use it in open engagement, which is just in like an area of generalized, and I'm going to use it in high engagement. Let's see. Now the battery in here I changed out about a week ago. It died, so it's really been used once for one test that I was doing. So I'm going to put it next to a router. Always dusty, and we're going to check back in on it. It's going to be kind of a loose test. It's quarter after 12 right now on Thursday, the 4th of February. So we'll turn it on. You can see it's on, and we're going to put it by the repeater, the router, as you can see. And you can see that that's a fully engaged system, so it should drain the battery fairly quickly. I just want to show the differences between being fully engaged and just a normal engagement. See how long they last, and take it from there. It's an alkaline battery that's in there. It's not a rechargeable either. It's just a Rayovac, which is most of what we use. Rayovac or Kirkland throwaways. It's working. 2 hours and 15 minutes, it's still rolling away. It's actually pretty impressive. So that means for most K2s you can put a brand new 9-volt in there and it should last you like 6 months, but I'm now wondering how long it's going to last just on a regular load. Well, it was a heavy surprise to me waking up today and all that. But thing's still going strong after 21 hours of constant load. Okay, so Saturday, February the 6th. We're just starting to glimmer down to just that winkling green light, just showing that there's a minimal amount of power left there, so there's no efficacy left to the device. That just kind of kicked over it, because I know you can see it still will kick up a bit, but that's just 2 hours. 2 hours short of 48. It's like 10 minutes short of 46 hours. So yay for a 9-volt battery alkaline. Obviously we can tell this is why we use them in things like fire alarms and all that. They're long lasting when you have a sort of a low output device. I'm probably not going to go ahead and do an intermittent test with the K2 with a 9-volt, because obviously that means that I guess I had constant load for 46 hours. An intermittent test, I think we'd be looking at 5-6 days, and you know, so. All right, so the next test is going to be on a rechargeable battery. Sometimes make points with the quality of battery or quality of the actual instrument being used. This is a it's a cheap import video camera. Sony changed it so only their most expensive cameras had the night shot, and so I went and I have a good Panasonic, but I wanted a second camera. This one here is I actually don't even know what the real brand is on it, you know, DVC or whatever it's called anyway, but it was less quality, and it uses rechargeable batteries, lithium ion, as opposed to a lot of them that use an NH. But so there's a fresh bat in this, and first test I'm going to test it is how much it goes just on regular daytime vision. How much will that charge be on this battery in particular? And this way I can demonstrate the difference on what, say, night shot or cold will do when I do the further tests. Seems to be a big issue with paranormal investigators, that whenever their camera runs out of battery, they assume it's a ghost taking it away. So right now, off the flush, it says I've got 4 hours of clip time. I don't know how long the battery is going to last. Machine's been on for 2 minutes, but it does show a full battery load. So let's start it up. How ironic was that? My battery ran out on this cam as I was talking about the battery running out on that cam. Anyway, that battery ran out at 1 hour 32. This style of battery right here. It's a rechargeable lithium ion. And that was just static, nothing, it's not being turned off, turned on. So the next stage I'm going to do with it is using it with night shot and seeing how that works. So 1 hour and 32 clean, and I'm going to start the experiment with my Panasonic. I got the same weighted battery as that one. Who knows if quality's going to make a difference. One of the things you'll notice on this, if I set this thing up, turn the power on. Right off the bat, it'll tell you it's got 1 hour and 19 minutes, which is about what the other one said it was going to be. Say if I used an accessory, like I'm going to turn on the side cam. All right, and now you see that the hourage goes down to 1 hour 1. If I turned on night shot immediately, it would probably change to it goes back up to 19. It would probably change to 45 minutes or whatever. This is the smallest battery I have for this camera, and I'm going to start the night shot on that camera. So let's start recording on this one, and we'll see how much time we can get out of that just as a straight run. And we're going to put a new battery into this one and turn the night shot on and put it in the bathroom or something when it's dark. So maybe another good major note when it comes to lower quality cameras and batteries and aftermarket batteries and whatnot is that the amount of drainage that happens in between not using them or them sitting in the camera itself, because all 3 of my charged batteries were dead. So gotta charge some batteries, but we're still working on this one. Okay, well, welcome to another COVID Saturday. All right, so side by side on a basic level, this one killed out at 1 hour and 35. So really, realizing that I did swap out the original batteries I was going to use, because it would have been kind of unfair. I had a 14 watt-hour battery with the Panasonic, and just a 6-hour one for the whatever brand name, FHD I think it is. But they both killed out about an hour and a half of just standard runtime, standard battery. I guess one of the major differences is the accessories on the Panasonic are much better. The quality's better, sounds better, everything's better. And also, you have the capacity to buy much bigger batteries. Like I've got batteries that'll run on night shot for 4 to 6 hours, right? One thing I did notice about the import camera and these MP40 batteries is whether it's my Panasonic batteries, and it would have been the same with my Sony batteries, I could charge them and for a month, 2 months in my kit, they keep that charge. Whereas all the MP4 batteries were dead. I'm having to charge them all. Otherwise I had all of them pre-charged. So, and I had one in the camera that was dead. So they have bleed, right? So you really got to take a look at that. And I think that's a valid point, because I know that our last investigation we were using the FHD and it blew out right off the bat. And no matter how many batteries you put into it, it just seemed to kill off. For an investigator, that's going to be right off the bat. Well, geez, you know, Spirit's taking our batteries. But I'm getting now that these batteries bleed out their power, so that my batteries are probably already all dead to start with. It was the first time we'd ever used that camera. I just got it, so learning experience. But you really got to take a look at what the capacity is for your battery storage life as well, when it comes down to whether your battery's drained and whether, you know, Johnny the Poltergeist is sucking the steam out of it. The next exercise, once we've done this, charging, which I'm now going to charge the battery. I've only got one of the small batteries that came with the Panasonic. I bought bigger batteries, but I'm not going to use those. It's unfair, because I'm going to have to charge these, and then I'll do the night shot. I think you might find that might start to be where the difference is, I believe. I think the Panasonic handles the accessories a little better, so but I could be wrong. Is what it is, but again, something to keep your mind on. When you're getting battery drainage and you think it might be Spirit, there could be another reason, and or buying quality batteries, right? Okay, now the test for night shot and seeing how long I can film. And okay, so the night shot with the import camera lasted just like an hour and 1 minute with night shot on, as opposed to an hour and 37 minutes with just the regular. So I'll try it with the Panasonic now. Well, here's how you go it. Something to be said for a higher quality camera and a higher quality battery. So basically it was unaffected on the Panasonic, but an hour and a half both on the stock battery. So next test I'm not going to do with this camera. I'll only do with the import camera because it's cheap. Okay, welcome to my basement. Okay, so I'm going to put that camera with night shot on, that it's on right now, which generally gave, what, about an hour solid with night shot in regular ambient temperature. Hour and a half regular ambient temperature without the night shot, and now I'm going to put it in a fridge. I'm not going to put it in a freezer because I don't want to screw anything up that bad, but I'm going to put it in a fridge. So that's my basement fridge, beer fridge, there's no beer in it. And yeah, we'll see what happens, really. I'm going to start the recording. Okay, so it's recording. It's not really a super cold fridge, but it's a fridge. Maybe I'm going to guesstimate 45 minutes. Okay, so the fridge hasn't really affected things much, so I'm going to go against my better judgment and put it in the freezer and see what happens. At least it's a cheap camera. Yeah, you can see passion for my work. I wonder if the light actually turns off. Okay, so the freezer depleted the battery a little faster. It certainly started seeing towards the end. You can see the meter telling you how much time you had left on it. It did it to about 48 minutes, so it took about an additional 10 minutes off. Not really a really huge difference, but it does affect it. Okay, one of the next things I want to play with, it'll be a really, really simple thing, but, and I have seen this on a few videos of people talking about how they're, like an IR boom. It's a couple simple ones. Like we've got larger IR booms that we build, which are powered by 9 volt, which as you already know as a low outputter are much better. These, you know, you can see little red lights. These CMAs are pretty popular out there. And they're a lithium-ion rechargeable. Okay, so I want you to realize again, lithium-ion rechargeable will die over time. Like it can only take so many charges. So eventually this will be useless. So depending on what the level of life is actually existing at that point in time of this particular item, you know, it starts off being red in the dark, and then you'll start seeing it flash. You can actually notice the flash on your camera. If it's in night shot, you'll start seeing a flash happening, and that means it's dying. So what I'm going to do is this has got a full charge on it, but for shits and giggles, I've got 2 of them and they're both fully charged. I'm going to take them down and sit down with them and watch them and see how long it takes. But you see, as it goes, the longer it goes, it's and the older it gets, it's going to die sooner, and I think that's also something else. But some people think that they last for a long time. They're only good about 45 minutes each. We take about 2 on each investigation, along with our bigger ones. These are just for more convenience. They have a nice light spray on them too, but again, something else. You know, rechargeable lithium ion and the actual lifespan of a rechargeable battery. Even though, you know, they're $50 or $60 to buy each, you know, they're only going to get, you know, so many charges before it becomes kind of a useless tool. Okay, so we got 2 units here, CMAs, which generally 45 minutes to an hour full charge, lithium ion. They're the same age, bought at the same time, pretty much used rotatedly, but we'll see what happens to them first and how long they go. Maybe it'll be a message to us as to we have to replace them. Okay, as we can see, this is what's happening to the CMA now that it's burning down. It's about 35 minutes. Now, they were both charged the exact same amount of time, so obviously the lithium ion battery and this isn't faring as well or isn't aging as well. We'll see how long it takes till it goes. Regardless, you know, this sort of removes its effectiveness because this will just make your video look like hell. So we'll say 35 minutes this one killed out. Okay, well, this one is killing out at 1 hour and 5 minutes. So probably, you know, they were bought at the same time, they get charged at the same time. Something tells me I'm probably using the other one more. So this is natural that lithium ion batteries don't, you know, they die off and with use. So. And this is my dog, making sure that I'm not down there getting him any food or treats or something else to chew apart. You may remember him from every other video I've made in the last 2 weeks. Is now going to be this camera, and we're going to use basically taking pictures with batteries with and without flash, which can severely affect things, because remember, and probably 90% of the pictures we're taking as investigators are with flash. So a certain camera can drain that down. Now, I've got several cameras. This particular one is an older Canon. It's kind of a workhorse. I think it's about at least 15 or 20 years old. But it's still like the workhorse of the team, the preferred camera. And but it's also, to me, I'm going to use it because it hasn't got a rechargeable battery, which can lower over time, or it depends whether you charged it enough, or maybe I just don't want to charge that battery. I've got a pack of new Kirkland, so look, they're a decent quality, but not like Duracell Energizer, but they are all the same brand. I'm going to use for this test, so we'll see how many pictures I can take with and without. How exciting is that going to be? Well, here's Sandy. I've tasked her with draining the battery with no flash, so taking random pictures of everybody, us, and all that. Should be pretty exciting, I imagine. A couple hundred pictures of nothing. Batteries are not a incredibly entertaining topic. So my saga with the camera, using no flash, and only a 4 gig card in there, by the way. Most of my stuff has got 128 gig. I thought was going to last. Well, my 50th birthday is in a month, and I'm kind of thinking it was going to hit near there. If you look near this, that says 1,700 pictures were taken on 4 Rayovac, no, not Rayovac, they're Kirkland. So kudos to Kirkland batteries. I'm assuming much less will be taken once I start utilizing the flash. I pray. Taking 1,600 pictures in one day. Boy, that was a nightmare. Okay, so over 2 days I've taken 2,666 pictures with this camera and this camera using different methodologies. One of the things that kind of came apparent between the two. So I was able to do about 1,700 pictures with this camera just on regular 400 ISO, no flash. 1,700, so it didn't affect the battery. So it's something that wouldn't affect much because I don't think a lot of paranormal investigators do it during the daytime. Great for nature photography though. And that was using alkaline, 4 AA alkaline Kirkfield batteries. Then with the same batteries fresh, did it with flash, and I was able to take 966 pictures. Okay, so yeah, about half the amount of pictures. So yeah, certainly that would affect this thing, that you're getting less, and bearing whether your batteries were decent to start with or new. Sometimes people just have half-used batteries hanging around. That would affect things. One other thing I did find effect, and I didn't realize that it was also being affected with this camera. This is a Sony CyberShot. This is lithium-ion, rechargeable, and so this was going dead. Was going dead when I was using it. I noticed that with this camera here was automatically switching its ISO to 250 from 400 as the batteries were depleting, therefore allowing the camera less need for power. It was also taking longer setup time, almost creating like a dysfunction or a malfunction approach. Like you're taking a picture, you're going, the freaking picture isn't being taken. And it was happening with this one too, which had like half a bar left on it as the battery needs to be charged. And this is, a newer camera. So one thing to take into mind is that when your camera batteries are fresh, it's faster time to charge your flash. Therefore, it's going to connect and take the picture faster, and your ISO speed will stay higher, right? Whereas your batteries go dead or slowly die, and it takes a longer time to recharge that, and sometimes it doesn't quite set up as fast as it should or would. So that might explain some of the malfunctionality and why you're not getting as much out of it. So that's that battery drain. Yeah. Batteries. So in conclusion, yeah, there were a couple things I think could put off an investigator. Certainly when you're using different accessories on different devices, whether it be a higher end device, like an import device, or a domestic. The type of battery you're using, whether it's a larger capacity style, and how much drain involves on that. And also I did notice that with taking camera pictures, that the older the batteries get, be it alkaline or recyclable, is that the facilities that be, when it comes to the camera, tend to slow down. The camera automatically puts itself in kind of like a sleepy mode, and that might be a bit of an earmark for an investigator. Remembering now that with rechargeable batteries, be it lithium ion or whatever, or NiCad, the longer the battery and cycles it goes through, the shorter the battery life. So you might be thinking, shit, I just put brand new batteries in this thing. but you might have charged, that battery might have gone through 40 cycles. Therefore, you know, you're going to get like a 25-minute life out of it when normally you'd get 2 hours life out of it, right? And then that's something, you know, you got to think it says it's been fully charged. So in determination of that, I don't think any battery is better than other. I think it's whatever manages to suit your case. I like the throwaways just because I haven't got time to really do a lot of charging, and charging is really expensive, and we use them a lot, so they get worn down fast, right? They get charged a lot. Regardless, whatever's good for you. But I will say that it's certainly what we've experienced in some of these occurrences that happened over the course of just a couple instruments that I worked with. Temperature affects things and all that. We haven't really gotten a ton of battery drain. We did on our last investigation, and I realized that the charger kit that I had, the prongs weren't connecting with the battery. So how about that? You know, a human error, which I think really claims for most of it. And, you know, human error, natural battery wear down, 99.9%, just like orbs. It's not anything paranormal. So just simple video about batteries. Too bad I was out with my daughter, who asked me to do this video to as an experiment, and I didn't get her on film. So I was going to cuss her out on film for making me take almost 3,000 pictures in the last 2 days. But that's it.